Hey guys, in this video we're going to get started writing our first program. If you've been following along with the other videos, then you now have Linux installed and you know how to use the command line and you know how to install programs using the command line. So what you need for this tutorial is Linux or Mac OS, not Windows. You'll want a web browser. I recommend Brave or at the very least Chrome. Chrome is pretty comparable to Brave, except Brave has a built-in ad blocker, and Chrome has some, cookie ad tracking stuff going on to make Google more money. All right, and then outside of that, you'll also want your brain and Google search in case something goes wrong, you get stuck, you can't figure things out. Well, that's uh, what they're going to pay you to do someday, right? Is figure things out when they're not working. So programs to install, and so we're going to want to install GitHub Desktop and get a GitHub account. So if you don't know what GitHub is, it's basically like Google Drive or Dropbox for programmers. It's somewhere where you can put good versions of your programs on the internet and then keep like a good copy of them. So pretty much every professional job, developer job uses GitHub or something like it. It's known as version control, and the best way to think about it is, say you're writing a paper for school, you write a bunch of revisions, you change the paper, and then you save it, and then you go back and read it, and you go, oh, this is crap. This is not a good paper. Gosh, I wish I could go back to the prior version. Well, that's essentially what GitHub does. So, or Git does. Instead of having just one copy, and if you break it, it's broken forever. You basically commit changes over time, and you can go back and revert to prior versions. So it's very useful, and pretty much every job out there that you work for is going to have some form of version control. And also, GitHub is kind of like LinkedIn for programmers. So a lot of job applications will actually ask you to use your GitHub account or show it to them. You can showcase your programs on there, you can make a profile, you can connect with people. And so it's really important for your career to have a GitHub and to be somewhat active on it. It's not everything, but it's definitely an important step. And it lets people show that, okay, you are a developer, you do write code. All right, and then we'll want GitHub Desktop, which is basically the program we run locally that lets us upload our code to GitHub. And then we'll also want VS Code or Visual Studio Code. It's an IDE, and it's basically something that lets you write and edit programs. I'm sure you've seen it if you've ever seen someone program in person or in a movie. It's essentially like what editing software is for a video editor. It's code editing software. So we'll install that, and we'll install Node.js. So let's do that now. So make a GitHub account. Then you can install these programs from the command line. Once you have a GitHub account, you'll go sudo pacman-s and then the name of what you want to install. Let's see, I believe I already have GitHub installed. Yeah, so it's github-desktop-bin. So yep, this is the command you'll want: sudo pacman-s github desktop bin. You also want to install Brave. So this is brave-browser, and then you'll want to install Node. So on here, you may already have Node installed. The command to see if it's there is node-v, and it should spit out the version if you do already have it installed. If you don't have it installed, on Arch Linux, the command is sudo pacman-s space node.js-lts-hydrogen. That's a long name, but we can just, I'll look it up real quick. QS node. And yeah, it's the first or the second one here. So we can copy this. So I'll just type it out for you guys to see. All right. And I'm not going to install this because it's already installed, but yeah, go ahead and get node installed. And then once you have it, it should say, once again, to confirm, you just type node-v, and it should spit out the version. All right. So now we're going to write our first program. So we're going to make a folder, and I'm going to do this using the command line to show you, so we can build on what we learned last time. So we're going to cd to our desktop, and if you don't already have a directory for programs, you could do make dir programs. I already have this folder on my computer. Then we can cd into the programs folder, and we can see where we are on the computer. So yeah, I'm on the desktop and I'm inside the programs folder. So now we can make a new folder called program1. So make dir program1. If we type ls, we see, okay, now we have a folder, so we can go into program1. And then lastly, we're going to make a file called index.js. So touch index.js. And there we go. We have our first file in JavaScript that we've written. So now let's open this in VS Code. So the command is code dot, and basically what this does is whatever your path is, whatever the directory you're currently in on the command line is, code dot will open Visual Studio Code in that folder. So now we're in here. We can see, okay, we're in the folder called program1, and we have that file we made called index.js. So let's go ahead and type console.log, and we can call this, we can write hello world. So what this does is it basically just logs in the terminal this string of characters, hello world. So let's save it, and then we can go back to the terminal here and run the program. So you just type node space and then the name of the file you want to run. So in this case, it's index.js. And there you go. Look at that. It said hello world. So congratulations, you guys made your first program. So pat yourself on the back. Obviously, it gets a bit more complicated than this, but we're just getting started. So now what we can do is open GitHub Desktop, sign into our account, and add a repo, which is that folder that we created called program1, and then we can push the origin and upload it to GitHub. So let's do that now. So I'm going to open GitHub Desktop. I'm going to sign in. And I'm going to authorize it. Sure, this works. Add an existing repo from your hard drive. Choose. So let's go to Desktop, Programs, Program1. Yeah, sorry. Create a repo here. All right. So now we have program1 added. We're going to publish this. my first program. I'm not going to keep their code private, and then let's publish it, guys. All right, so now if we go to GitHub, let's go back to github.com. Created one commit and one repo, and look at that. Program 1's on here. It has a README, and we can type something in the README. My very first program written in Node.js. All right. Awesome. So we have a README, and then we have our index, and we have our line of code here. Awesome. So if you've been following along, you should have wrote your first program, confirmed it worked in the terminal. Should say hello world, and it should be on GitHub now. So the next steps, update your program, add a README file, and commit the changes. So we can do that as well. So let's go to GitHub. I'll show you guys. Look at this. This is cool. So you can see this should get updated. So if we fetch the origin, which means we're like grabbing the stuff from GitHub, we'll hit pull origin. Look at that. The stuff we typed in online is now on our computer. And this is very useful because if you're collaborating with people, you might make changes or work on the code asynchronously. So your coworker or partner or colleague might code something and then you might code something. And so Git allows us to work together and then grab the changes. So it's super useful. And let's write another line here. Watch Full Stack 101 on YouTube. All right, so now let's save this. And now you can see, okay, it gets like, do you want to add these changes to the README? And actually, let's make another change. Let's go into our actual JavaScript, and we'll log coding rocks. And we can run it again. Okay, so we made changes. That's awesome. Now let's go back to GitHub. And you have to type some sort of summary, so I'll just say coding rocks log. All right. And so now we're going to push that commit to GitHub. And look at that, it's there. So that's pretty much it. Now, thanks for watching. Congrats again, you have your first program done. In the next video, we're going to get into back-end development basics. So we're going to set up and build our first server, and we're going to host our program on the server. So by the end of it, the code we wrote won't just be something that runs in the terminal. It'll be something that we can go to the internet and actually look at. And so you could share it with a friend. You could send your friend a link and go, hey Jimmy, check this out. I can code now. I coded this. So I'll try to get the next video out as soon as I can. Once again, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe, and I have a Discord, so if you need any help and want to reach me, you can always join the Discord. Thanks.